Our immune system becomes less competent with age. In fact, there's an accepted term for the aging of our immune system. It's called immunosenescence. That's how common it is. This makes a person more vulnerable to diseases and can make a common infection such as the flu much more dangerous. Additionally, because the immune system is weaker and less responsive, vaccinations become less effective. This is because it's harder for an older immune system to make antibodies. Antibodies are generated against specific microbes, so you have resistance. So when you get a vaccine just not working well, this is why the newer flu vaccines that are aimed at the older generation of people are more potent. The normal flu vaccine was not concentrated enough to elicit an adequate response by the immune system. We didn't produce enough antibodies against the flu with the regular flu injection. So with aging, we also make fewer immune cells. We already spoke about antibodies. B cells decrease in number. B cells produce our antibodies. And once again, this gives us resistance against specific infections, immunity against specific infections. T cells also drop in number. They're very complex cells. There's a whole bunch of different types. T cells are extremely important for fighting infections. They help control the immune system. They help aim it towards a specific infection. But also, once the infection is gone, they help wind down the immune system response. Otherwise, you have terrible, out of control inflammation. Additionally, natural killer cells, they're very important for fighting infections. They're still very plentiful with age, but they lose their mojo. They become weaker in their ability to kill virus-infected cells or cancer cells. Now, there's a second aging-associated problem with our immune system. It makes us chronically inflamed. Chronic means constant. There's a term for this also. It's called inflammaging. So with aging, we develop constant, chronic, low-grade inflammation. With inflammation, with inflammaging, the type of inflammation that comes from aging, our immune system is constantly firing at a low level. It accelerates our rate of aging at the cellular level. Part of this reason is because we generate and absorb fewer antioxidants. Antioxidants normally would be the antidote to free radicals generated during the inflammatory process. Free radicals make inflammation. So when the immune system is making you inflamed, it's because it's generating free radicals. The antidote would be an antioxidant that would snuff out the free radicals, but we're absorbing less. For instance, lutein, a very important antioxidant that's been shown to reduce inflammation in our blood vessels and in our heart, but also in our brain and our eyes. We absorb less of that from food with age. We also absorb less zinc with age. And with zinc, we can't generate antioxidants. There's a very important enzyme antioxidant system throughout the body. It's kind of like a first responder. For instance, if you have a stroke or a heart attack, your brain and your heart try to release a lot of this antioxidant to protect the heart or the brain from inflammation. It's called superoxide dismutase, type 1 and 3, where it's loaded with zinc. So if you absorb less zinc, you're not making this antioxidant. You can't quench long-term low-level inflammation. We also have leakier guts with age. Studies show for some reason that the variety and quantity of healthy bacteria in our gut decline with age. Not sure why. There's a number of hypotheses. When you have fewer good bacteria, the bad bacteria tend to get a little out of hand. They inflame the lining of the blood vessels. They inflame the lining of your intestines. You develop something called leaky gut syndrome, and large molecules of food, etc., and toxins that should be encased in your digestive tract are now leaching into your bloodstream and creating inflammation. So it's always a good idea to take some probiotic bacteria with aging. There are certain strains that are really good, like Lactobacillus plantarum, Lactobacillus rhamnosus, Lactobacillus acidophilus, Bifidobacterium animalis, subspecies lactis. They're all very good for your gut health and for your immune system because they help guide your immune system. Now, I'm a member of this group, and addressing the immune system is important to a lot of us people, including me. So welcome to our Restoring Aging Your Age. So I'm a member of this group, and addressing the immune system is important to a lot of people, including me. So welcome to our Restoring Your Aging Immune System episode. Hi, my name is Jerry Hickey. I'm a pharmacist who also has studied nutrition, and I'm over here at Invite Health. I'm also the scientific director, and I'd like to talk to you today about the steps I take to support my immune system, including foods and supplements, and how this can help you retain your health and vitality for years to come. Please be sure to subscribe to the Invite Health podcast today, and please leave us a review. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Invite Health, and all of the information on today's episode will be linked in the episode description, and you can visit invitehealth.com/podcast for more information. So let's get going. So how do you help restore immune system function with age? I'm going to discuss supplements first, and then I'll discuss foods and lifestyle. But first, before we do this, let's go to a break.
This podcast is brought to you by InviteHealth.com. For over 20 years, Invite Health has provided premium quality supplements and expert advice you can trust. Now, first-time customers can enjoy an exclusive offer. Visit invitehealth.com/podcast or click the link in this episode description. That's invitehealth.com/podcast for your exclusive offer on Invite Health products. Invite Health offers the resources you need to make important decisions about your health. Chat live with degreed healthcare professionals, get product information, and find retail locations near you at invitehealth.com. You can also learn about our new genetic testing program and our exclusive Invite Fitness Wellness program. Follow Invite Health on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and be sure to subscribe to our podcast today. Now back to our episode.
Okay, welcome back. We're talking about how to restore a immune system function in aging people. I'd like to start out with melatonin. Melatonin's a hormone. We've known for many decades that a gland in your brain called the pineal gland releases melatonin at dusk, and this helps set you up for sleep. Melatonin does a lot of things. It helps control your nighttime blood pressure, your nighttime body temperature. It may help with ringing in the ears. It may even help with hair thinning. It certainly helps with bone health, and of course it helps you sleep better. Now, science has known for a long time that the pineal gland in the brain releases melatonin at night to help us sleep. But recent discoveries also show that other parts of the body release melatonin. For instance, our digestive tract releases melatonin. But important to this discussion, our immune cells manufacture and release melatonin. This shows the importance of melatonin for our immune system, and the ability to affect our immune system through melatonin release is undeniable. By the time we reach 65, we experience immunosenescence, aging of our immune system. So melatonin has demonstrated a general immune enhancing effect, and this is in multiple human clinical trials. Melatonin is a helpful agent for enhancing the quality of life in the elderly in many ways, including sleep, but also with immunity. Melatonin is so powerful, don't use it if you have an autoimmune disease, because we don't know its effect. So if you have something like rheumatoid arthritis or systemic lupus erythematosus, don't use it for now. We don't know how it affects an autoimmune disease. But for me, I don't have an autoimmune disease. Here's the effects of melatonin on my aging immune system. The innate immune system is sort of the first wave of the immune system to attack a virus like a coronavirus or like a flu virus. It consists of macrophages and mostly neutrophils, a bunch of granulocytes, but the major one is called a neutrophil. About 90% of your circulating white blood cells are neutrophils. This effect drops with age. Releasing these cells, when you take melatonin, it creates progenitor cells to make macrophages and neutrophils the first line of defense against an infection, and you make more of them. It's very important. If you respond to an infection early on, it helps contain the infection and keep it away from organs like the brain and the heart and the kidneys. So having a good, adequate response right up front is important. Older people tend to have a weaker initial response to an infection, allowing the infection to get more deep-seated and allowing it to advance more easily. So restoring the number of these cells is an important finding with melatonin. But also the adaptive immune system. This is like later stages of the immune system. A second wave of the immune system is your natural killer cells, which is really important. You're starting to use up your neutrophils and macrophages. You need more cells to rush in there and take control of the infection. Natural killer cells do that. They work on a number of levels. One, they directly help kill a virus or a cancer cell also. But secondly, they're calling in other waves of immune cells. And they have a type of memory. They don't last that long, but they can stick around long enough for you to release enough T cells, which is kind of like the next wave, and your antibodies. Antibodies generally take about 7 days to make, as a rule of thumb. So the natural killer cells stick around until your antibodies can take over. The antibodies are specific for a virus. So when you take melatonin, you're releasing stronger, more potent, more active natural killer cells. You're able to create more antibodies. And you're restoring your CD3 plus T cells. CD3 plus T cells activate what we call CD4 plus T helper cells and CD8 plus T killer cells. So what does that mean? Well, the CD4 plus T helper cells guide the immune system towards the virus. And the CD8 plus killer T cells kill the virus. They're real killers. They're like ninja warriors. They're like Navy SEALs, the Navy SEALs of the immune system. Now, besides melatonin, and you don't need a huge amount of melatonin for the immune system, a half a milligram, 1 milligram, 3 milligrams seems to be adequate, and that's usually enough for sleep also. You also need zinc. It becomes harder to absorb zinc with age. Before we get into zinc, which is a big discussion, let's go to a break. It's a real quick break. We'll be right back. Jerry Hickey for the Invite Health Podcast.
This podcast is brought to you by InviteHealth.com. For over 20 years, Invite Health has provided premium quality supplements and expert advice you can trust. Now, first-time customers can enjoy an exclusive offer. Visit invitehealth.com/podcast or click the link in this episode description. That's invitehealth.com/podcast for your exclusive offer on Invite Health products. Invite Health offers the resources you need to make important decisions about your health. Chat live with degreed healthcare professionals, get product information, and find retail locations near you at invitehealth.com. You can also learn about our new genetic testing program and our exclusive Invite Fitness Wellness program. Follow Invite Health on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and be sure to subscribe to our podcast today. Now back to our episode.
Okay, studies show that older people absorb less zinc from their food. Zinc is important for so many things. It's a major source of antioxidant activity to protect your heart and your brain and your kidneys and many other organs and tissues. It helps reduce inflammation throughout the body, but you also need it to activate your immune system. So if you're low in zinc, deviating below the normal healthy level on your blood test, it reduces the number of immune cells you make. These are the cells that directly fight the infection. So the University of California Davis medical authorities say that taking a zinc supplement every day reduces your rate of infection. Zinc is required to make immune cells that kill infections, the neutrophils and macrophages, the early responders. You need zinc to create the early responders that get an infection under control right away so that it doesn't become more dangerous. Zinc is also required to create natural killer cells. These are the kind of second line of defense of the immune system. Zinc is required to make the cells that give you resistance to specific infections, your antibodies. They're made on your B cells. Zinc is required to make your T cells. They're extremely important for aiming the immune system at an infection and controlling the immune system and winding the immune system down after an infection. So T cells guide the immune system, kill infections, and turn off the system when the infection is over. Very important. Viruses also use proteins on the outside of their viral coating to stick onto our tissues and infect us. Zinc has the ability to complex with these proteins on the virus. And the more zinc in your cell, the better that works. This reduces the ability of a virus to cling onto your tissue and infect you in the first place. Additionally, zinc is needed for the function of vitamin D. Vitamin D works on several levels with the immune system. You need vitamin D to activate gamma delta T cells that help guide your immune system. But you also need vitamin D to protect important tissues like your lungs and your heart and your kidneys, from both the viruses and the immune system attack itself. Let's talk about that for a second, because that was something that is seen with the coronavirus that's going around currently, the COVID-19 infection. Um, the COVID-19, if it gets into like your lungs or your heart or your kidneys, creates inflammation and starts to damage the cells, might even trigger tiny blood clots. The immune system creates an overwhelming response to it. It's called a cytokine storm, and this really demolishes these organs. Vitamin D is needed to help prevent that from happening. They found that infections are much more dangerous in the lungs, and you're much more likely to have an infection in the lung if you lack vitamin D. There's a lot of research showing that. So you need zinc to for vitamin D to function properly. You also need zinc to convert vitamin A into retinol. That's important for night vision, and for releasing vitamin A from the liver for healing and your immune system. So you need zinc for antioxidant protection. You need zinc for vitamin D activity. You need zinc for vitamin A activity. You need zinc to activate and create immune cells and to create antibodies. So zinc is needed on many levels for your immune system. So a deficiency of zinc increases dysfunction of your immune system in many ways and increases your susceptibility to infections. Very important. So higher doses of zinc, well above the upper recommended level, have proven to be safe and to safely shorten the length of those symptoms of the common cold by a good percentage, by a third in general, according to a review of studies published by the Royal Society of Medicine. Many human clinical trials of the young, of the elderly, and those in between show that zinc is needed for your immune system. And taking a bit extra during cough and cold season is very helpful for reducing the duration of symptoms of a cold or any infection, and for protecting you from an infection in the first place. Zinc is really important. So in a review of studies, this is published in the journal BMC Family Practice, looking at zinc lozenges and the symptoms of viral infections of the upper respiratory tract. Zinc reduced the length of suffering, reduced coughing by 46%, the duration of coughing, sore throat by 33%, stuffed nose by 37%, runny nose by 34%, muscle soreness by 54%, so showing it has a general effect on containing and controlling infections. There are some caveats. You need to take a lot of zinc within the first 24 hours of a viral infection. You need about 80 to 90 milligrams of zinc a day. In my opinion, you're better off building up zinc on a daily basis, not just waiting until you're infected. You want an adequate store of immune cells. You want an adequate response in the first place. Now, what about us older adults and zinc? People 65 years in age of older or older. For a number of reasons, we have less zinc. They think a decreased appetite, a narrowed variety of foods consumed, a decreased absorption of zinc. Our ability to absorb zinc from food just declines with age. Plus, a lot of drugs that are commonly prescribed lower the amount of zinc in your body, and many elderly people are on prescribed drugs. In fact, some people are on a cocktail of prescribed drugs. So examples of drugs that would lower the amount of zinc in your body include ACE inhibitors, like lisinopril for high blood pressure and for heart failure, or diuretics, water pills, estrogen replacement, proton pump inhibitors such as omeprazole, and H2 inhibitors such as cimetidine. They're used for ulcers or H. pylori infections of the stomach or GERD. Steroids such as prednisone lower your zinc level. Laxatives, antacids, even aspirin, they all lower your level of zinc. And for the elderly, zinc supplementation is a must. In a study of nursing home residents, a low level of zinc in the blood, in their serum of the blood, led to a higher rate of pneumonia and pneumonia-related mortality, and in fact increased the risk of all-cause mortality. Studies examining the effects of zinc supplementation on the immune function in middle-aged and elderly adults show that zinc supplementation improves their immune system. For instance, a randomized placebo-controlled clinical trial in people over 65 years of age found that zinc, 25 milligrams a day for 3 months, increased their blood concentrations of helper T cells and cytotoxic T cells. These are virus killers. Additionally, a randomized double-blind placebo-controlled trial in 101 older adults aged 50 to 70, they had normal zinc concentrations. If they gave them a zinc supplement of 15 milligrams a day for 6 months, it improved the helper T cell cytotoxic T cell ratio, in other words, control of their immune system. That tends to decline with age, And when lower, it's a predictor of poor survival when you have an infection. There is a different study in the elderly, people with a mean age of 80 years of age. They looked at the effects of supplementing with zinc every day, 5 milligrams of zinc or 30 milligrams of zinc. This was over a 3-month period in people in a nursing home. They were institutionalized elderly participants. They initially had low serum concentrations of zinc. Now, on 5 milligrams of zinc, it wasn't enough to bring their zinc levels to normal. 30 milligrams for most of them was enough. The number of circulating T cells significantly increased in those who took 30 milligrams a day versus 5 milligrams a day. Zinc is also needed to head off the inflammation. I've said this to you before. Inflammation that's associated with an overactive immune system. I think what we're going to do is stop the broadcast here, and I'll split this into 2 episodes because there's a lot more to say about an aging immune system and nutrition and also lifestyle. So thank you for tuning into the Invite Health podcast. You can find all of our episodes for free wherever you listen to podcasts or by visiting invitehealth.com/podcast. Please make sure you subscribe and please leave us a review. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Invite Health. We'll see you next time in another episode of the Invite Health podcast. I'll be discussing on our very next episode. It'll be part 2 of improving the immune system in aging people. Thank you for listening.